just to comment on Nick's point about Maduro Capital, I mean, that's one example where you have a company that's essentially trading for cash. So even if they drill and they miss, I mean, realistically speaking, the shares are already so cheap. The company can only really fall so much more before, it goes into, negative enterprise value kind of territory. It's almost trading at cash right now. So in the perspective of risk versus reward, I mean, that's why it's great to get into a story very early, because in that sense, your downside is somewhat limited, because, the nice thing at least is, zero is usually your ground floor, and most companies don't get to zero. Well, who knows where the cycle is going to head next, but in a decent market, you shouldn't, encroach on zero. But the upside could be infinite, right? Depending on whatever you hit. So I just want to emphasize the importance of paying attention to valuation. With that said, I would like to ask you guys if you guys have some kind of rule of thumb that you use. Like I know it's different for like early stage exploration versus development stage versus mid-tier, senior, and things like that. But is there like a certain market cap valuation or enterprise value that you kind of adhere to? Like, what's the most you'll pay for a company that hasn't even drilled one hole, or has an initial resource of like 1 million ounces or something? Like, where do you draw the line where you basically say that market cap is just too high, I'm not going to pay for it because my risk increased too much?
Hear what Fabi thinks, because I know that she is much probably better and more willing to follow some of the more hyped up plays and to make success out of that. I've struggled with those generally, and it's kind of a personality quirk as well. But to Jay's point earlier, Maduro is an excellent example, and it's trading a little over cash, but for me, it was like a no-brainer entry point. It was kind of on my radar when I first bought in. It was like just trading for $1 million and a half over cash, and I knew what they had, and that was like I will pile into something like that because I think it will have room to run even if they don't discover something. That is the best. I will always take a deep look at anything that's at 5 million or below, and it seems like there's some legitimacy behind it. Even at this stage, 10 million, and I'm just talking Canadian, like Canadian or Australian, so that's even cheaper than US dollars. I mean, under 10 million, I will always give it a deep look, and this is for any early stage exploration, even if they haven't discovered anything. Once we start getting to 10 or 20 million, I would prefer to see something. Now, this is going to change as the cycle continues, and I'm thinking more about gold, but it's across the board. Like you're going to start seeing, it'll be harder to find things that even have a resource, but like I'm still expecting to find good exploration value, but maybe there's definitely like a JV with a legitimate partner, or they've actually had maybe a couple good drill holes, but they haven't had the big hole yet. In terms of developers, it is hard to find them at that level right now. But I still like to find anything under 50 million. That's kind of it's not a magic number. It's weird. It's like this is all just personal decisions. But once you start getting above 50 million, I want to see something else. As a good example, I really liked what I saw with Erdene, which just had some great results in Mongolia. And I was like, oh, Mongolia, I love these, jurisdictions that are far off. And I'm looking at it right now, and the market cap's like 54 million. And I've heard a lot of good things, but that's a great example here, because it's like, oh man, if this was 40 million, or definitely if it was 30 million, maybe I would have bought by now. But it just seems like a little too expensive, even though it has, good support. There's a lot of people on co.ca that like it, but that's one that's on the fence. If we're going to get bigger, I'll just use one example in the developers, then I'll let one of you guys say something. When I look at Sandspring Resources, which I finally bought a little bit of, so I bought. So this is also funny too, because maybe I'll regret, maybe I won't feel like I didn't buy enough, but I'm happy. I got some. I think it's at 41 cents today. That's my first purchase, and I know people are in this at higher levels. I may not end up buying more, and I don't know where it's going to go. It's kind of a leveraged developer, but when I see, there we go, 46 million market cap right now is what I'm seeing, or 47, and for something that's that big, I'm starting to like it just thinking about the arithmetic. Even though gold goes down, this thing might get crushed further. But then comparing it to something like Victoria Gold, which is kind of similar in terms of bigger potential, definitely a better jurisdiction though, and a lot more followers in the Yukon. I know it's been hyped by newsletters. That's at 236 million, and so that's a good example of like people are definitely willing to pay up for good jurisdictions or what they perceive to be good jurisdictions. And there might be, some other legitimate reasons that Victoria Gold is better. Infrastructure, there's much more of a history in Yukon than Guyana. But let's go back to the market caps. 236 million versus like 47 million. And there's that huge gap. So I'm always willing to take on that extra risk if I, with the jurisdiction or some other issues when there's that much of a gap. So hopefully that gives you an idea of, kind of how I move up the value chain.
Yeah. So for me, I do one of two things. I see exploration companies as almost two different categories, which are not real categories. They're just categories in my head, right? So disclaimer, this is not a real thing, but I see projects with big names slapped on it, such as the Ross Beatys of the world, or a really big sort of joint venture, say like the Barricks and Goldcorp of this world. For that, I'm willing to go a lot higher, and I don't look so much at the market cap. I look more at the project, and I always take a look at the charts, because more than just looking at the present market cap, I want to get a good entry. So I like to get into those stories either early on when the news of this big partner coming on board isn't completely just well known and accepted by the market, or when everybody already knows about it, the stock has already gone up and then it's pulled back a little bit. So that's one situation, and the other is when there are no big names, and when it's a project that has potentially more question marks, than exclamation marks at the moment. For those projects where we don't have a big JV partner, we don't have the big names coming in yet, then I like to go definitely for sub 10 million market cap. And again, I'm also looking at the charts for price entries, because this is really silly, but when you're talking about pennies, like there's a huge difference on your return if you buy something at 3 cents or 4 cents, right?
Oh yeah. Oh totally.
It really
yeah.
does make a difference. That's a huge double-digit percentage difference. And so I want to look at not just the current market cap, but when can I come into this play and maximize my gains. So yeah, definitely sub 10 million market cap is interesting to me.
Tabby brought up some good points. Oh well, I have the perfect deal to sell you. You look at Orca Gold, and you just got Ross Beaty to come in, and it's come back down on the chart. So
I know. I really want to get in it. I just don't know what family member I'm gonna have to sell in order to buy it.
Yeah, sorry. I just had to throw that out there because I was like, oh yeah, this is checking all the boxes.